I'm gonna tell you guys why the KTM 390 might be one of the best small entry-level mid-range bikes on the market. But I have no idea, I've never ridden it, I have no clue. I have no idea. Maybe it is, I don't know. Cue the intro. All right, guys, I'm Sean from Srkcycles with my newest friend, also a motorcycle. And this is a KTM 390. Mark, what year is this?
2018.
2018. A brand new bike 1 month ago. I've never ridden one of these things. This is the, the entry-level naked street fighter bike. They have a pretty big reputation. It is a single-cylinder motor. I'm gonna assume it's got a slipper clutch. I'm 6'2". I'm a fairly average size guy, if you live in like the Nordic countries. The bike feels like a 600 or anything else. I mean, it actually feels great. I love the way it feels. These mirrors are just hideous looking, but they're killer. They work great. Check this out. The craziest thing about this bike is the actual screen. So when you turn it on, it says ready to race. I'm actually just gonna go around on the street, but I guess I have to race it now. But the whole thing is digital. Pretty awesome. Let's fire it up. You got buttons over here. Oh, there we go. I mean, this thing's like a little computer down here.
But it is a feature that you can like hook your phone up to it through Bluetooth, play the music through it, and like turn the volume up and down and everything else.
Oh, and you're saying that you can have navigation on this?
Yeah, it's like an extra package you have to buy through KTM.
And it's just a tune?
Pretty much.
It's a code?
Yeah.
So it's already in there, you just gotta get like the code and put it in there?
Right. But yeah, it's like an extra like $2 grand or something. I'm completely wrong, but it's like expensive to like put the navigation on.
So this is probably the most teched out under 400cc bike. Maybe under 1,000.
I haven't seen any bike with like an LCD screen like that.
Yeah, that thing's awesome. Is it touch?
No, you navigate everything over here.
That makes more sense.
But you can put this on Supermoto mode, which turns off your ABS in the back, so you can do some sweet burnout.
Yes,
and you can turn your ABS off completely also. But yeah, this comes ABS also, which is pretty sick.
See, that's what I like about this, because a lot of times they build these awesome bikes and you can't turn these modes off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're great when you want them and when you need them, okay, turn them on. But if I want to turn off, if I don't want traction control or ABS on my back tire because I want to do that same thing, you want to drift it, good, turn it off. Give me the capabilities. It's all just computers and stuff. They could easily do it. What does this thing weigh?
I
guess it's
close to 400 wet.
Really?
Probably. I looked up a while ago, but
Just gonna try to lift it.
I got this.
You can definitely manhandle it around.
I got the back. You guys see that? I got the back off. No, it feels very nimble when I like round it from here to here.
And having a passenger on the back, it actually feels pretty nice. I don't feel like top heavy at all.
Yeah.
It feels pretty stable.
It looks great. But what's cool about it, this is the stock exhaust, right?
Yep.
It's not giant. Remember like 10 years ago, the stock exhausts were literally this big, and then it made sense to replace the stock exhaust with an aftermarket one because of just the weight savings. You know what I mean? That's pretty slim. That's pretty slender.
You have this big old cat though sitting there.
Oh yeah. I shouldn't touch that.
The back brakes are a little they don't bite very hard, but the front grips up pretty well.
Well, that's actually good. Yeah, that's actually what you want. You want the back brakes to be kind of fadey. Yeah. Because you don't want to be able to lock up your back brake.
Right.
You want to be able to push that thing really hard and then never lock it up. But then you want to be able to ride that rear brake. Yeah. Help straighten yourself out and kind of fix goofy situations that you might get yourself into. Now I've ridden all these. I've ridden the 400. I've ridden the Kawasaki 400. I've ridden the 250s, the 300s. I've ridden all of them. I'm really excited to ride this bike, see what it can do. Let's take it for a spin. All right, guys, before the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. Exodus 20:16, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And for my last test drive that I messed up, Proverbs 17:7, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. I said diversity. I'm not very good at reading or anything. I really am pumped about driving this bike. Yeah, I'm ready to race. When the cop asks you, like, what are you doing racing out there? That's what my bike told me to do. Don't listen to machines. Snappy. Snappy little thing. Alright, I've been on this bike for 1 second, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is by far the quickest, the snappiest entry-level sport bike. I mean, listen, the other ones are great, right? I'm not bashing them. Wow, man, that front brake is tight. This front brake is set up like how I have my track bike set up. I mean, you're like one finger braking. If you move that thing an inch, you're full braking. You know, you're not going anywhere. I wonder if this thing has a beacon inside of it that actually shows your lap times. That would be cool. I'm sure it does. It's got to, right? It's just gotta. All right, so even though this thing weighing in around 400 pounds, you can't compare weight to weight. It's not that simple. Okay, you're not bench pressing the bike. That you know what I mean? That's not why you compare bikes. You compare bikes about how they feel. You know what I mean? Center of gravity and how they feel and what has to come. There's a lot of dynamics that affect that. You have center of gravity. You've got wheelbase. You know what I mean? If this bike was 30 feet long, when you're driving it, you would be like, man, this thing does not really handle very well, but it'd still be 400 pounds. It also does not feel like a single cylinder. The current Honda entry-level sport bike is also a single. I love trolling those STIs with my cars. Alright, so here's the big question. Can you clutch it up in second gear? Because if you can, then you have a lot more room to ride the wheelie. Oh, there we go, alright. I might need a little practice with that one. When it comes to nimbleness, I mean, this is super moto nimble feeling. You know what I mean? The word flickable. I'm gonna throw that word flickable around right now. Very, very flickable. I get to see, and honestly, I'm cruising the speed limit. I'm going the speed limit. I feel great. Yeah, you got wind at your chest. That's awesome. You're sitting very far forward. You know what I mean? You're hugging the tank. It's very comfortable. Your arms are just where they kind of sit, you know? And for the first time in my life, someone who bought one of these bikes was smart enough to leave these mirrors on. And I was joking around about saying how dumb they look. They're big, but they work, man. They work. If you're not gonna have mirrors that work, just don't have mirrors on at all, and then which is dumb. So if you notice, the gauge is actually changed. The whole gauge starts getting redder and redder the higher you hit. This is like 10,000 RPM red line. You get your gear indicator up there. Let's start pressing some buttons. I don't know what any of these things do. So per dollar and per fun, it actually flashes. The gauge actually flashes when it's like, I think you should shift. Shut up, bike. I'll shift when I want to shift. You're not Harrison. You don't tell me what to do. All right, 0 to 60. I discussed it with Mark before we jumped on here. We both kind of agreed we think like 4.5 seconds. It's where it's at. We think anything faster might be too fast. I think I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna beat it. This is a bike that you could really learn how to be a well a good rider, a really fast rider with a bike like this, because it's not lacking all these other things like the good quality components and the ABS and the feel. It's not lacking that you get with a lot of cheap bikes. That's why it's not a cheap bike. It's just a, you know, entry level. All right. There. I think I left a little bit on the table there, but I think that was a pretty good. That was pretty good. I think I dumped it at like 8,000 RPMs. I was not expecting to have to shift till in the third, and that might have kind of lagged me down a little bit. But that was pretty decent. If I had to guess, 4.3. All right, so when it comes to cruising on the highway, I'm actually really surprised. I thought, so a lot of times you get a bike like this and it's buzzy, you know what I mean? And it's buzzy and you start feeling it through your hands. And I mean, this is a 6-speed. I'm going the highway speed. And if I want to accelerate, I don't have to downshift, I just roll into it. And this actually feels pretty good. Now I'm sure because the wheelbase and everything, that once you start getting closer to, you know, triple digits on a track or in some other state on the Autobahn, I would imagine that it starts feeling a little bit unstable. But maybe I might be wrong about that, I don't know. But as of right now, it feels very stable. You know, sometimes you drive like the FC07 at the higher speeds, or like a Supermoto at the higher speeds, and the bottom end just feels like it's kind of, you know, just doing stuff. This feels great. Let's get up to the high. Everyone's going so slow. Let's just get up to the proper highway speed. Another cool thing about this bike is it doesn't look, unless you really know, and mainly the biggest giveaway is the rear tire, you know, how skinny it is. And because you don't need a big, you don't need big tire with extra weight, you know, dragging you down for you know, for a bike that makes this kind of power. You just don't need it. It's unnecessary, and the skinnier the back tire is, the better it's going. So there's always this battle between a skinnier back tire and being able to keep, you know, having a bigger contact patch to keep your power on the ground. And that's why when it comes to like race bikes, you know, for the past decade, it's not like, you know, always get bigger, it's always get bigger and bigger tires. It's just, this is a good medium, you know what I mean? 180s, 190s for the big super sport, for the big boys. Back brake feels really good. I'm impressed. I've never been a big fan of KTM, mainly because my brother was a big fan of KTM, and I had a buddy that had a KTM Supermoto 530, 525 or something like that, Supermoto, and it blew up. He was driving around the highway and it blew up, and then he took it back to KTM. He's like, hey, this thing blew up, and they're like, what were you doing? He's like, I'm riding on the highway. They're like, yeah, you can't do that. Now that's the Supermotos, and that was, you know, years ago. Of course, these bikes are made for that. These are the street bikes, and they're definitely made for that. This is fun. Let me see if I can get a good wheelie in up here. I could definitely do it. I bet I could shave off like 0.2 seconds off my next 0 to 60. I'm interested to see what that turns out to. All right, guys, that wraps it up. Super fun bike. This bike is not for sale on my website. This bike is for sale at your local KTM dealership. So if you want it, go buy it. If this is a couple years later, we might have a used one of these. I don't know. Go check out Srkcycles. I'm gonna try to do a wheelie. Yeah, real time.